Welcome back, everybody. We are working on the Model A again. Today we're going to do the dash. So we're actually going to make a 44 dash fit a Model A. We have two dashes. We have one that we already shortened for a 27 Ford Roadster, so a 27 Model T, and we decided to go a different route with that. And then we have another all original one. So we're either going to shorten one or lengthen one to fit, and then show you how to make it all fit in the car and everything. So.
The nice thing about a 44 dash, you can buy every part for it brand new. The one I shortened, it's quite a bit shorter. There's two of them laying on the floor here we'll show you that are, it's been shortened quite a bit. And I think it's actually too short for the Model A's. You can actually buy the whole dash brand new, but they're fairly expensive, so I don't want to buy a new one when I've got 4 or 5 old ones. We're probably going to take the doors off so that we can have some room to work in there without bashing into the door every 2 minutes. Kerry did some work while you guys were gone. He welded the cowl to the upper part of the cowl to the lower section of the cowl. They usually bolt together, and he decided to weld them together. So
I didn't like that.
There wouldn't be a seam.
Yeah, I didn't like the seam in it.
All right, let's get the doors off then.
All right.
Just so you know, there was a brace weld across here because we had taken this piece out and we wanted to reinforce it so the body didn't spread any at all. Even though there was a brace here, it never hurts to put extra bracing. So this piece is back in now, so we cut that brace out. So we're gonna try the dash here and see what we got. This is gonna be fairly narrow, but it's already been cut down some.
It's only about a foot narrower.
So we're gonna have to, let's see.
Just so you know, we shortened this. We didn't do any of the filling of that stuff, so.
It was actually sliced right down the center here, and we took out metal that we may end up having to put back in. Yeah, I know, that one's a lot closer.
So these things are, these dashes are like $500 right now.
Just the bare
just
empty
this
dash.
Section right here, and even like a used one is like $3 something. So I think
hate to cut another one up, but you know, we could actually cut both ends off and fill the ashtray, and then just weld a flat end on that matches the.
we'll still curve it a little bit, but. So if I take 2 inches out of each side, it should be perfect, because that'll give us enough room for windlace and stuff too.
Yeah, let's do that. All right, then we're just gonna. You could probably actually make a straight line right down there, Karen. Take it, and then I'd rather cut a little bit at a time than cut too much, and then we have too much of it gone.
Yep, straight enough. All right, now I cut.
Just measure it and make sure it's right all the way across.
$20 3/4.
center line the dash, the inside.
What we're doing right now is we're making a center line, so when we put the dash in, we can line the dash up, the center of the dash up with pretty much the center of the cowl, the center of the car. Right. So actually, lucky enough, there's actually a hole right here on the car that's dead center.
Before we put the dash and stuff in, there's some spots right here we've got to fix, a couple little pieces. Not a big deal, it'll take 5 minutes.
Yeah, that stuff will probably get fixed off camera because it's going to be boring, just quick metal work.
Hot in the bottom there.
I know.
You always want to make sure you have a flat surface to do this because you're just going to stretch the metal if you don't. So if you have an anvil, it's great.
Get right there. Yeah, I've actually been trying to steal this anvil from him for about 10 years now.
Yeah, I found some of these when I was just up at Carlisle. For one like this, it has the nose. I have the nose piece somewhere. I let somebody use this and they broke it. How they busted that off, I'll never know. But they want about 500 bucks, 300 to 500 bucks for ones this size. Now, if you don't have an anvil, you can always use one of these. There's a bunch of different styles of these. These are called dollies. You hammer and you put the dolly underneath and then hammer the metal. You go like that and then hammer it. So you does it for all intent and purposes the same thing. But
and for something like this,
that's good enough.
For something like this, what you'd do, you'd put this in a vise and then clamp it in the vise so you have this, either this flat section or this flat section real tight so you can actually pound on it and stuff.
Yeah, it's hard to hold the dash, the anvil, or the dolly and the hammer at the same time.
This is one
of our, don't have enough hands.
And this is one of our cheaper dollies. The better dollies will be polished on either side, on all the sides, so you don't get marks in the metal and
this
stuff.
One actually is polished on this side, but I use that to go flat too, so works either way. All we're really doing right now is we're drawing a straight line. We want the dash to be fairly equal with the door. This may take a couple cuts. I'd rather cut it twice than cut too much and then have to add a bunch. So we're just going to cut it so that this fits pretty equal with the door. This will go back in a little further. It'll get more of an angle down. We're not going to take a whole lot off. We'll have to build a little side piece that goes in here. I want it pretty close to the way it actually is right now. So we'll see what we end up with once we get this cut off. So. We don't want the dash to sit way back in because we have to we're putting a vintage air conditioning system underneath here, and I'd like to have the length room. So I don't want this to sit back in. We can always determine where we want it and cut more off the top and scoot the whole thing in a little bit. But I'd kind of like to have it sitting the way it is. It gives us a lot more room inside to mess around with the air conditioning and give us more room there. So as you guys can see, it's a shame if this bracket was a hair higher, it would bolt right into the bracket that's on the the actual dash. But what we'll do, this will all be filled.
We could make that happen.
And we'll make a bracket come off the side here and come right to here, and it'll bolt in. So it'll make it very simple to mount the dash. We're going to put some brackets down inside. And if you saw the other episodes where we actually put this cowl in, it bolts along the inside of this bracket. So we'll put bolts that are longer down through, and then we can just bolt it up from the bottom. It'll be easy to take in and out if we ever want to take it out, and it'll be ready to go. We'll actually weld a bolt probably in the bracket here so that we can just, it'll go right in there, and then we'll be all set and ready to go. So it'll make it a nice setup.
So what we're doing here is we're actually going to be using the pieces that I cut off of it. I can make this fit in here like so. So that way it fits in, and I'll cut it here, and then this piece will get filled, but it'll have a nice little butt here, and then it'll have this body line still.
This needs a little cut off here, Kerry, but I kind of like right where that's at, so that'll narrow down what we got to put in here.
You like where it's at?
This needs not cut off just a hair.
That looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, I like that. That looks good. If you look here, there's actually one nice thing about not cutting this. I can use all the original 40 Ford parts. This is where the radio was, and in a 40 Ford, that hole that we cut right through the middle of had a antenna that went up this way, and it went right through the center of the roof on a 40 Ford. So the radio went here, the radio speaker goes here, and then there's a chrome cover that goes over that. I may eliminate this. I'll leave this and put the chrome cover on it. They do make a block-off plate for the radio I may put in. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. And I've got a brand new glove compartment door in the other dash we had. So that'll go in there. But we're probably going to mount that. Well, that actually wouldn't look too bad, would it?
No, we could mount it flatter.
Yeah, that
instead
actually,
of at an angle.
that's all the air conditioning controller. So
I know I'm putting it in upside down, but all this stuff's in the way if you go right side up.
So I may will do that. That actually doesn't.
That would look pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know if I want it up there though.
So you could almost sink it back in too.
But I don't know with the AC and if we have room to put it in the glove compartment.
Yeah. You'd almost have enough room to put a start button right there.
We'll think about it. Start button goes right there.
Or right there.
I'll have to think about that.
Or we could make this flip down and have all this stuff right there.
Yeah.
Because there's another trick you can do where you can actually make this hinge so it flips down, and then you have this here. We could put a couple USB ports in there. We could put, our auxiliary jack for our phone or whatever. It's going to be all Bluetooth, and you won't actually see a radio anywhere in the car. I'm going to cut a bunch of this out. It's going to look really bad for a minute, but then I got an idea how to fix it. So it'll end up looking really nice and work out really well for us. So, all right, time to start cutting. So as you can see, we cut this out, cut some relief cuts in here so we can kind of bend this stuff to our will. I ended up cutting these little rods so we can put them. This is actually way bigger than it needs to be, but we're only going to end up using about that much of it, just that little curve part, so we can get a nice curve right here going, right into this body line right here. So So for now, I'm going to cut this quick and then we'll tack it on. So there's our piece, nice little curved piece. Should fit. Right about there. If you look here on that little curved part I put in, I made it so we can actually continue this body line right here all the way around. So now I'll put a slice right here, kind of clean them up a little bit, and then tap that down so it fades away nice and clean into the corner there. And then we'll be able to kind of push this stuff down and make it all fade in right. And then we'll just fill these sections. Okay, grinding time. All right, so you can see now what we're doing is we're just bending all this stuff over. So it'll come to a nice, clean edge right here. I'm gonna get this bare metal, finish welding it up quick, and grind it off so you guys can see what it looks like. So we got this all finished up. We got it ground and, well, not finished by any means, but we got it ground and welded up, and we got this nice little line in here so it'll kind of close in right here. And then what I'll do is I'll make a little patch panel. I'll curve this a little more, in a little more, and then we'll make a little patch panel to cover this and cover where the ashtray went. So this way, next time you guys are here, we'll show you how we finished everything up on the dash, and then hopefully we'll be getting towards putting all the brake lines and everything on the chassis. But yeah, that's about it for today. Remember to like, subscribe, and give us a follow on Instagram. I am McFlyDesign63. The shop is KMAC Customs 330 and Summit Racing. Thanks for watching and see you next time.